had the boo-boo blues. Yeah, I've had some boo-boos, honey. I've been like you.
Hi, and welcome back to Tell Me What Happened, the podcast that features folks from all walks of life telling us one childhood story that impacted who they are today. I'm your host, Jay Rehack, and like you, I've had my share of childhood experiences. Some of them pretty wonderful and some of them pretty painful. But I like to think that everything that happened to me as a child has impacted who I am today and hopefully made me better for it. Tell Me What Happened is sponsored by laughsaver.com. Visit laughsaver.com and record your laughter. We'll keep it for you now and forever. It's free, and your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren will thank you for it. Tell Me What Happened is also sponsored by Sidelining Publishing, publishers of quality books, including Susan Salador's classic, One Little Act of Kindness, available on Amazon.com and wherever quality books are sold. All right, today I have as my guest Anna Munson Carpenter. Anna's an old friend of mine whom I met through my daughter. Both of them attended Macalester College up in Minnesota, and they both played volleyball together. Anna is currently an ICU nurse up in Minneapolis, and she's also a former perfectionist. Welcome to the show, Anna.
Hi, Jay. Thanks. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, are you ready to tell your story, Anna?
Yeah, sure. Let's get into it.
All right, I'm going to get out of the way. And at the end, I'm going to ask you one question, Anna, and that is, how do you think that story has impacted who you are today? But take it away, Anna.
Okay. So my story, I guess, starts when I was 6 or 7 years old. I started to play the viola. For those that don't know, the viola is a smaller cello or a bigger violin is how I would describe it to people. And I also played sports and joined a bunch of clubs and really was involved in a lot of things growing up. And when I got to high school, I was still playing my viola and I made the chamber orchestra as a freshman, and it was a really big deal. My middle school instructor was really proud of me, and I ended up becoming the first chair of the orchestra. So in other parts of my life, playing sports, giving speeches, I have no fear, no stage fright, nothing. I could thrive under pressure or, want to score the winning point of a game. I could give a speech to 5,000 people or 10 people, didn't matter. But when I played the viola, no matter how much I prepared, I would freeze up when I had a solo. And when I was a freshman, I was in the solo ensemble. Everyone in the conference or in the district had to do a solo if you were in orchestra. And my teacher goes to start the piano to start the song, and I completely freeze. She has to restart. My whole family's watching, mind you. And I start again. About 2 bars in, I completely stop again. Now I'm shaking, basically, and my teacher's looking at me like, what are you doing? What is happening? And she's a very, very serious teacher, so I know she's mad at me. And then she starts again, and for the 3rd time, I make it 1 bar in, and I just start bawling my eyes out. I couldn't do it. So then I stopped that solo. They didn't make me finish, thankfully. I very much appreciate that day from that teacher. And this became a theme throughout my high school orchestra experience. I was our first chair viola. And if you're not familiar with orchestra etiquette, when you're the first chair of your section, if a solo comes up in the middle of a piece, you are responsible to play it. Well, my first time that had to happen during an ensemble, in the middle of the concert, I just didn't play it. And the 4 bars went by, and then the orchestra just continued. And everyone's looking at me in the orchestra, my friends, like, what are you doing? What happened? And I just thought it was a one-off. And then it happened again. And it was the weirdest thing. But so my story is essentially that I couldn't play solos. as a violist. And it was the first time in my life that being really prepared for something or practicing something all the time didn't pay off. It didn't matter. And I was such a perfectionist, as Jay had mentioned, in my life. But that also came with preparation. I knew I could get it the way I needed it to be if I prepared, and it just wasn't going to happen. So after not being able to do the solos for 3 years now, I can't count how many solos I failed to do in the middle of performances. My senior year teacher finally said, "You know what, Anna, this year, why don't you just skip solo ensemble? You don't have to do it. It's fine. You don't have to do the solos anymore." And I was so incredibly relieved. So yeah, I think that is the end of the story.
Well, I know what you're talking about a little bit, the notion of freezing up or whatever, or the hesitancy. Do you feel like, have you played music since then?
No, I haven't played much. I tried to play about a year ago to take lessons from someone and get back into it, maybe join a community orchestra. And it was from a person who played in Europe, and she was very, very, very good. And she did not think I knew what I was doing at all. I came in as an adult learner with basic skills because I did know how to read music and use the instrument. And she was like, no, 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 no. You must start over. We must start from scratch. So I really haven't played much since that.
So how do you think that experience in high school impacted who you are today?
Yeah, so I think as someone who is a self-proclaimed perfectionist, who always wanted sort of the limelight or to be the person to, score the last point or give the big speech or be the leader of a group, it was the first time that it was better if I didn't. And I was really okay with that. And it was the first time I felt comfortable giving it up and letting other people play the solo and still enjoying being a part of the orchestra as a whole. And I knew that I was really good at what I did with the team, like with the orchestra, and that I was important to that. And I had accepted that and actually was at peace with it, where I had never found peace with stepping back and letting someone else who's better at something do it over myself. So I think that was a really important lesson to learn. Now as a nurse, even, it's a team effort, healthcare is, and sometimes there's people who are better at, placing IVs or, doing certain skills, or they just have more experience, and maybe I'll get to where they are at one day. And it's okay. I'm happy to let them do it. I know it's better for them, and I know I can help in other ways. That's just as important, but just a little different. And I don't think of the orchestra as a team. Like, orchestras aren't called teams very often. They're called, ensembles, or gosh, I don't even know. But to me, it's just that team mentality. Same with sports, same with work, same with community. It's like we all need to work together and we all can play our role. And I personally am okay with whatever role I find.
I love it, man. I'm telling you, that's wisdom that came to you at I think a relatively young age. If you came to that after the experience of deciding you didn't need to do the solos. I think it's hard sometimes to give that up, at the same time to say it's okay. I'm still great at what I do. It's just the solos aren't necessarily my thing.
No.
Or whatever it is. But that's great. Well, I'm impressed. I wish I could play viola or any real instrument. But listen, I want to thank you for being on the show. Your insights sort of stirred up in me some of my own feelings of, times when I froze up and I shouldn't have, or whatever I did, but you get over it. But thank you for being on the show, Anna Munson Carpenter.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, well, that's our show. I'd like to thank my guest, Anna Munson Carpenter, former perfectionist and current ICU nurse. Also like to thank our sponsors. And I'm going to end this show a little differently, sort of in honor of Anna. I'm going to end with Susan Salvador's classic, The Boo Boo Blues. So until next time, this is Jay Rehak asking you all to stay safe out there and try not to hurt anybody.
I've had some boo-boo that's a mighty bad boo-boo too. I'm sure that hurts you, honey, and you're crying boo. A boo-boo in the morning, a boo-boo late at night, a boo-boo anytime at all. Well, it just isn't right. Everyone's got some boo-boos, baby. We've got the boo-boo blues. We all have boo-boos, honey. Even me and even you. I've had some boo-boos, baby. I've had the boo-boo blues. Yeah, I've had some nasty boo-boos, honey. I've been like you. Let me see your boo-boo, baby. Oh, that's a mighty bad boo-boo too. And I'm sure that hurts you, honey. And you're crying, boo. A boo-boo in the morning, a boo-boo late at night, a boo-boo anytime at all. Well, it just isn't right. We've got some boo-boos, baby. We've got the boo-boo blues. We all have boo-boos, honey. Let mama fix it for you.